CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the second day of weather disruptions across Midwestern Ontario. A winter storm buried parts of the region, mostly landing north and east of London. With more on today's Dig Out, here's Scott Miller.
Emery Slesser and his dad are doing their best to dig out their driveway in Wingham after a huge dump of snow last night.
It's horrible. I hate having to scoop this down. He has to chop it down, and then I have to blow it out, and you just repeat that, and it just doesn't end.
A streamer coming off of Lake Huron stretching from Kincardine to Kitchener dumped upwards of 30 centimeters of snow overnight and this morning on places like Wingham, Brussels, and Listowel. Residents awoke to driveways jam-packed with heavy, wet snow.
And I'm really thankful the town plowed it in for me because, I mean, this is what I want to do for 4 hours as I shovel up my driveway.
The father-son team weren't alone in their frustration today as residents used every means necessary to clean out their driveways and walkways, only to see it filled back in moments later. At its peak, this system dropped 5 to 10 centimeters of snow per hour.
Well, it's normal for where we are in Ontario, so kind of early though.
It was a second consecutive day of school bus cancellations and school closures across Huron, Bruce, Grey, Perth, and Wellington counties. Over the past 2 days, some communities have seen more than 70 centimeters of snow.
I would rather have gone to school than have to do this.
The worst of the squalls are supposed to subside tonight, but with Lake Huron wide open, it's only a matter of time before the next storm passes over the unfrozen waters, adding fuel to the snow machine.
I'm living the Canadian dream. This is what I live for.
In Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Elsewhere, 2 crashes shut down part of the 401 near Cambridge, trapping many in their vehicles overnight into this morning. With more on what was a long day for road crews, here's Jeff Pickle.
A long day and night of slow traffic and frustrated drivers.
At the time of the collision, the road conditions were extremely poor, described as icy, whiteout conditions, snowy, just poor conditions overall to be driving in.
The problem started last night around 9. Conditions got so bad, transport trucks became stuck on the 401.
Unfortunately, due to these commercial motor vehicles that were blocking live lanes, in addition to that, the road conditions being icy and poor, the highway was closed for a significant period of time.
No one was injured, but delays were long. As one 9-hour closure was clearing up around 6 a.m., another collision and closure on the opposite side of the 401.
The 2 commercial motor vehicles that were involved, semi-trucks in nature to that size, one had collided with the rear of the other, and which caused this liquid asphalt to exit to the commercial motor vehicle that was struck from behind.
In town, the situation not much better.
As of midnight last night, we declared a snow event, and then we called a full plow at 3 a.m. this morning.
The city of Kitchener with all hands on deck clearing streets.
So right now we're in a full plow situation. That means that all available resources, it's about 50 plus pieces of equipment and operators that are actually deployed to the road network.
With emergency routes and main roads a top priority, residential streets may take a while to be cleared. Kitchener and surrounding municipalities have declared a snow event and are asking people not to park on the street or get a ticket. Jeff Pickle, CTV News.
CTV News has learned a former city councillor who is being charged with extortion and harassment had previously been banned from contacting Mayor Josh Morgan and members of his family. In 2021, Miriam Hamou was appointed by council to fill a vacant seat for Ward 6. She was defeated in the following election. Yesterday, St. Thomas Police charged Hamou with extortion and harassment. CTV News has obtained a cease and desist letter from June ordering her not to attend Mayor Morgan's office and to not contact the mayor, his ex-wife, partner, or mother. The letter states Hamou had sent many text messages and voicemails containing threats and other allegations. A London City Councillor says discussions on expanding the urban growth boundary should pause after leaders from the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation wrote a letter indicating they want to be involved.
I would say that when a neighboring Indigenous nation asks us to properly consult with them, I think that's important to listen to that.
The planning committee is scheduled to discuss the boundary changes on Tuesday. Skylar Frank says that conversation should be put on hold until the neighboring First Nation leaders can provide their input. The urban growth boundary represents the city limits beyond which new development is not allowed.
I understand the argument for expanding the urban growth boundary, that with more land somehow it will reduce property tax or reduce cost of housing. But my cynical view is that even if land is slightly cheaper for developers to build, I don't think they'll pass that cost savings along to future homeowners.
Councillor Frank will be at Wortley Bridge this weekend, hosting a party on Sunday in response to a demonstration by a white nationalist group. Brian Bicknell reports.
Skylar Frank wants to take back the Wortley Bridge. The Ward 11 councillor is hosting a party there Sunday.
I'm inviting the community and whoever wants to come to what I'm calling the Wortley Bridge party. So there'll be music, there'll be cookies, coffee, dancing, bubbles, chalk. So I'm hoping the weather is good, but essentially an opportunity to hang out on the bridge and fill it with joy and happiness.
The Sunday event is in response to this. Last Sunday, the white nationalist group Second Sons held a demonstration on the bridge. About 30 members stood in formation wearing dark uniforms and masks and displayed a banner that said "Remigration Now." The term refers to ethnic cleansing by way of deporting all non-white immigrants.
On the Sunday, I started to get phone calls and texts and emails from residents who are really concerned, really upset, and so I passed it along to the London Police Services, and they sent out some folks to help the white supremacists leave. But I was actually quite angry because I don't agree at all with what they're trying to spread. I think they're trying to use fear and intimidation to channel their messaging. And I don't think it's reflective of this community.
Local MPPs Terrence Kernahan, Teresa Armstrong, and Peggy Sattler released a joint statement condemning the demonstration.
This is not, having a discussion about levels of immigration and, what's the right level that we should be looking for. This is saying to anyone who doesn't fit, a white nationalist vision of the country, but it is conveying to them that you don't belong here and get out.
We reached out to the group Second Sons with an interview request today, as we did earlier in the week, and once again, we did not get a response by our broadcast deadline. Meantime, the Wortley Bridge party goes Sunday from noon until 1. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Norfolk OPP say they've upgraded a murder charge in a homicide investigation from last month. OPP say they were called to a home in Simcoe on October 5th where they found a 71-year-old woman dead. 11 days later, police say they found the remains of a 49-year-old man in a wooded area near Caledonia. They have since arrested a 45-year-old man, Justin Morgan, who now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. A coroner's inquest heard evidence today about the final hours of a London woman's life who died while in police custody. With more on today's proceedings, here's Nick Paparella.
The coroner's inquest heard evidence from the officer who was booking 28-year-old Amanda Bolt in the London police cells on November 2nd of 2019 after she was arrested for property damage. Sergeant Luann Devine had dealt with Bolt in the past, saying, "I had familiarity with Ms. Bolt. I knew she abused street drugs, but wasn't aware of the heart condition until the booking." The jury has heard Bolt told Sergeant Devine she had a heart attack once before during a previous arrest and was on medication. The officer said, "I think looking back in hindsight, I should have asked a lot more questions about that." Bolt, who was arrested twice on the same day, was held overnight in cells and would eventually be found to be in medical distress. She would be rushed to Victoria Hospital, where she died 10 days later from cardiac arrest. The inquest has heard that she had a troubling childhood in foster care and would develop addictions to drugs and alcohol along with the medical conditions. Earlier in the day, Staff Sergeant Anthea Fordyce told the jury, when working in the cell block area, "You're seeing people who have the most tragic lifestyles." She said London police are constantly reviewing and updating arrest procedures when it comes to those with addictions and health issues, saying, "We are looking at working with community partners to have medical oversight within the cell block." The inquest into Bolt's death is expected to last 5 more days. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
A new water tower is online serving the Aylmer area. Local officials say it's a much-needed upgrade on the previous tower with significant community growth on the horizon. Jerry Dewan reports.
The new water tower has actually been operating since the end of September, but was officially commissioned on Friday.
There is a great need in Aylmer right now, and in the area around Aylmer as well. We are a growing community.
The new composite elevated tank holds approximately 7.6 million liters of water, more than double the capacity of the old stand tower built in the 1980s.
We're going to accommodate water for the surrounding communities as well, like Central Elgin and Malahide.
It will also supply the Ontario Police College, located on the northeastern edge of Aylmer. The area is anticipating substantial growth as the PowerCo EV battery plant takes shape in St. Thomas, and other EV-related businesses that will support PowerCo set up operations. New housing is already being built in the shadow of the water tower, and the tower itself sits in Ames Park, Aylmer's new business development area.
We have to make sure the infrastructure is in place, water being a key component, water and wastewater.
Through the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program's Green Infrastructure Stream, the town received almost $2 million from Ontario and $2 million from the feds. The total cost of the project was about $4.9 million.
If you want growth, you need infrastructure to accommodate it. So this water tower will set up the community in Malahide, Central Elgin for decades to come.
Most times when we think of the municipal water supply, we think about the water coming into our homes, but that water plays other important roles in the community. Improved water flow and pressure will help fire crews in the city and in nearby communities. The previous tower is being decommissioned and will be torn down, but no timeline has been set for that work. In Aylmer, Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
The London Knights hosted the Saginaw Spirit tonight, the first of a weekend home-and-home series.
In behind the net, chance scores! Boy, what a set of mitts as the Saginaw Spirit score late in this hockey game.
Now, the Knights actually held a 2-1 lead heading into the third period tonight, but they let it slip away. It was the Knights' first home game since returning from a Northern Ontario road trip where they won just 1 of 3. Final score tonight, Spirit 4, Knights 2, and these two teams will be back at it tomorrow night for the second half of the back-to-back in Michigan. One of Mark Carney's key cabinet ministers has resigned over the agreement signed with the Alberta government yesterday, and there could be more opposition to come from officials in British Columbia. With more on the risks and what might be coming next, here's Judy Trinh.
For a project like that to come to reality, you'd have to make sure that there is social acceptancy, certainly if it's going to BC.
After 6 years in the Liberals' inner circle, Stephen Guilbeault quit as Minister of Culture, unable to stomach the Prime Minister's shift toward pipelines. Just hours after Mark Carney signed the Memorandum of Understanding with Alberta's Premier, Guilbeault resigned. He said several elements of the climate change action plan he worked on are about to be dismantled, including consumer carbon pricing, zero-emission vehicle standards, and the emissions cap on the oil and gas sectors.
I'll disagree with the characterization that we're rolling things back when we've actually committed to strengthening the industrial carbon price, strengthening methane regulations, extending the methane regulation.
Guilbeault will remain in caucus. Other Liberal MPs feel strongly about the environment. About 30 are part of a newly formed climate caucus.
He's dedicated his life to climate issues. And it's completely understandable that he would stand on that principle. Does that mean that there's a cancer spreading through the caucus? Absolutely not.
Guilbeault was also the Quebec lieutenant. Now Carney will have to find someone else to help him navigate the politics of La Belle Province.
Mark Carney is not a Quebecer. Mark Carney is not culturally, linguistically in the flow of Quebec. He relies on that Quebec lieutenant.
On social media, the Prime Minister thanks Stephen Guilbeault for his work in advancing sustainability. Mark Carney must now turn his attention to finding a new Minister of Canadian Culture. He could also use a vacancy for a cabinet shuffle. Judy Trinh, CTV News, Ottawa.
A proposed change to Ontario's consumer protection laws could impact customer loyalty points. The change is contained in a much larger red tape reduction bill. With more on that legislation, here's Caitlin Wilson.
The holidays can be expensive, and for many, like Andre Michaud, loyalty points like PC Optimum are a small but important way to save money.
I try to build them up every year so that I can help with the groceries or whatever, for the kids at Christmas time, because it's very difficult.
But a proposed change in provincial legislation has some worried about what could happen to those points in the future.
Weeks before Christmas, the Grinch is threatening to steal their points.
Ottawa MPP Stephen Blais says Bill 46, currently making its way through Queen's Park, rewrites the rules currently governing reward points in Ontario.
The government is stripping out a one-line piece of the Consumer Protection Act, which simply says that reward loyalty points cannot expire simply due to the passage of time.
Instead, the bill would replace that clause with a new framework, giving the government power to set new rules later, rules that could allow points to expire under certain circumstances. But the province is pushing back, saying in a statement, it's taken action to strengthen consumer protection and is building on those protections to ensure points cannot be cancelled or expired.
I would definitely be not happy. I have a lot of points to shoppers, and I'm going to use them for groceries.
I would be disappointed, very disappointed, because these days I find like everything helps.
And while nothing changes right now, Blais says it leaves the door open for future expiry rules.
They've chosen to eliminate this consumer protection element from the law and decide in future, in secret, other rules that Ontarians are just going to have to live with.
A possibility shoppers say is worrying, especially this time of year.
It all helps to for your budget and for spending money, and I really do value them.
Caitlin Wilson, CTV News.
Still ahead, improving care for local kids. The new LHSC partnership supporting pediatric care for young patients with rare conditions. Canada's main stock index was up on strength in the energy and base metal sectors. The TSX gained 186 points in New York. The Dow added 289. The Nasdaq is up 151. The Canadian dollar gained a quarter cent. On commodity markets, gold added more than $52 an ounce and oil lost 10 cents a barrel. New data on the Canadian economy shows a much stronger performance than expected in the third quarter. It's a surprising rebound, according to economists. However, as Abigail Beeman reports, the numbers aren't entirely optimistic.
Hi, Ontario people. That's what we need to do, is support each other.
Some economists say gross domestic product growth is proof months of Buy Canadian ads and measures are working even with an unresolved trade war.
We saw imports drop 2.2%, which is a huge decline in the amount of foreign goods that we're consuming here in Canada. And that's really what helped to propel the economy forward, along with some increasing government spending.
Canada's real gross domestic product rose 2.6% on an annualized basis in the third quarter of 2025. Imports dropped 2.2% and exports climbed 0.2%.
This puts aside kind of the recession talks or certainly the worries that we had about 2 negative quarters, but it doesn't really kind of take away the kind of, how should I say, concern that we have around the economy still.
Statistics Canada says business investment was flat and household spending dropped slightly. The Prime Minister picks a positive spin and takes credit, posting the growth beats expectations and we're getting results.
At the surface, the data looks good. It's positive. But scratching beneath the surface, what you see is that there's some prudence. Consumers are prudent. You see that in the way they've increased their savings.
This economic snapshot comes ahead of the Bank of Canada's last interest rate decision of the year on December 10th. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. Those winds slowly starting to ease, which is good news for some of those heavier streamers that set up over Lake Huron throughout the day today. Parts of the region getting up to 30 centimeters of snowfall. Others, clear conditions throughout the day. Just the really strong winds has been our weather story. We are tracking this next weather maker, a low pressure system that will move through overnight Saturday into Sunday. And with that, we'll see widespread accumulative snowfall for your Sunday, and it could get tricky as that snow starts to turn into rain. I'll break down the forecast for you coming up after the break.
Welcome back on the desk with Rita Ismail now. It's been a snowy end to the work week for many people, especially in Midwestern Ontario, as we saw from Scott Miller's story. What's our weekend looking like, Rita?
It will be a snowy end to November, Carlyle. Certainly that's the story for us. Windy, snowy, and cold as well. Our temperatures dropping. They really struggled today. We were about 5 degrees below seasonal, but it felt much colder than that with the wind chill factored in. At times throughout the day today, it felt like -10, -12. Record high, 19 degrees in 1990, record low -13 in 1969. So as you can see, we have been dealing with lake effect snow squalls throughout Grey and Bruce County. That warning remains in place, and parts of the region have been in and out of flurries. Now for us here in London, we managed to dodge a cumulative snowfall. It was very localized to parts of Midwestern Ontario. Different story as we head into Saturday and Sunday, because there is a snow system, a low pressure system that will push through. As you can see it here, it will start to gain speed, and it will also gain strength as it moves through. So a bit of a break tomorrow morning in terms of those snow squalls. They will get a little lighter for parts of Grey and Bruce County. Some sunshine to start things off here, but that sunshine will quickly be taken over by cloud cover heading into Saturday afternoon, and there's that widespread snowfall. You can really see that system intensifying, and it will push through 9 p.m. Saturday overnight into your Sunday morning, switching into a mixed rain snow event by the afternoon on Sunday, and then getting a bit tricky as we'll be seeing strong winds in behind it, and a similar pattern will set up. We'll be dealing with lake effect snow squalls and snow flurries for Midwestern Ontario and parts of London. So certainly snowy outlook for the next 48 hours. Thank you, Raymond, for sharing this beautiful weather backdrop for us. So let's plan out your Saturday. The winds won't be as strong as they were today. They'll be out of the west, 10 kilometers per hour, but it will be colder than it was today. -6, feeling like -14 overnight. Clouds increase into the afternoon. We're expecting to hit a daytime high of 1 tomorrow, or -1 rather, and then 1 on Sunday, but really cold to get there, so I'm not sure if we'll reach that. Rain snow mix in the forecast Sunday afternoon. The bulk of that low pressure system snow will push through overnight Saturday into Sunday morning, and then it will be that mixed bag throughout the day and afternoon into Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, chance for lake effect flurries. The temperature will struggle to be anywhere near seasonal for the next 7, getting really cold by Friday, -8, feeling like -14. That's your daytime high. Midwestern Ontario, -1. That snow squall activity continuing tonight into tomorrow, and then scattered flurries Saturday morning. Then snowfall into Sunday. The 1 degree mark on Sunday is the warmest of the next 7. We drop in behind that -3. Chance of flurries is there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then that cold snap pushing through -8 on Friday. So definitely need to break out your winter gear as we officially welcome December next week. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Rita. Local parents of children with rare bone conditions won't have to make as many trips to Montreal in the future. For years, that's been the primary destination for treatment. Sean Irvin has more on the new LHSC initiative, providing options closer to home.
For a child battling a bone disorder, any method to improve their comfort is welcome news. Nearly 2 decades ago, an effort to move the Shriners Hospital from Montreal to London failed. And in the aftermath, local children and their families continued to commute to Quebec. That will not end as a new partnership between LHSC and Shriners Hospital grows. But a new program, dubbed STAR, is expected to reduce travel time. Already, a partnering monthly clinic has helped 111 patients.
And so we want to make sure that we can reach out to our partnering pediatric sites to ensure that we can bring care closer to home. We do share many patients that get treatment here, but also they have come to Montreal. And if we can make that trip one less trip so that they can come locally, that is one of our main goals.
The local programs are supported by London-based Mocha Shriners. The fraternal organization has committed $1.5 million over 5 years, with 1/3 of the cash going towards research designed to track and speed up treatment plans for children.
When you have an optimized treatment with a rare bone condition, you expect to have less pain, you expect to have less need for surgery, you expect to have improved functional mobility, running, playing, jumping, doing all those things that we want kids to be able to do.
Researchers, administrators, and supporting Shriners hope the partnership, the first of its kind outside of Quebec, is just the beginning.
And I think as we work together, we'll continue to find ways to capitalize on the expertise in each of the spots to build programs that serve these kids.
And so this is just the beginning of so much more to come.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Finally tonight, a Seaside, New Brunswick town raising money this holiday season in distinctly maritime fashion. Sarah Plowman has more on the festive tree created out of recycled lobster traps.
Touched by the sea, St. Andrews is also shaped by tradition. The town feels like a Christmas Hallmark movie. Center stage is a tower of lobster traps formed to make a tree.
Originally, it was just because I loved trap trees. And my grandfather, he was an artist, and he always had the biggest Christmas tree.
Allison Spear and her husband fish. Her idea to build a trap tree snowballed into a major fundraiser for the food bank.
In 8 years, we've raised $78,000.
Each buoy comes with a donation.
Can't lose the memory, so.
A chance for locals like Debbie Wright to give back and honor her late husband, Dave, with a buoy in his name.
It's good, warms my heart. It's a good thing.
The trap tree draws tourists and awareness to how much the demand at St. Andrews Open Door Food Program has ballooned.
Well, in the last 3 months, it's gone up 25%.
The need that's not always obvious, but volunteers and board members feel it.
There is a greater need here more than ever, and I do feel that a lot of people are unaware of how much the need is.
And so this tree will give a lot back to the community that surrounds it, with donations coming in not just from locals, but people from Ontario wanting to sponsor a buoy. Sarah Plowman, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.